Presidential pledge of enhanced regional cooperation in addressing security challenges in ECOWAS sub-region.
Will ultimately lead us to becoming a net exporter of petroleum products.
A leap in resolution of petroleum downstream challenges as 50,000 barrels per day modular refinery comes alive.
I'm pleased to present for confirmation by the Senate the nomination of Professor Mahmoud Yakubu for appointment as Chairman, Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) for a second and final term.
Again, Senate receives executive communication requesting confirmation of Professor Yakubu as INEC Chairman.
Violence against women and girls are not just a human rights issue, but also a moral imperative and failure.
Plus, 16 days activism on ending violence against women and girls flagged off. Hello and welcome to NTA Network News, reaching you live from our studio in Abuja. I'm Ian Ray. John Dotun in Lagos will be reading with me tonight. Thank you for joining us. We'll begin with security tonight as the federal government says Nigeria will always be there for the Republic of Chad in view of their long-standing brotherhood and good neighborliness. President Muhammadu Buhari made the pledge while receiving a special envoy from President Idris Deby of Chad. State House correspondent Adamu Sambu has the details.
President Muhammadu Buhari said Nigeria appreciates the support she is getting in tackling insecurity from the neighboring Chad Republic. He described as unfortunate the problem Chad is facing with Libya, which supports some rebels trying to destabilize the country. The president expressed worry that the instability in Libya after 42 years of Muammar Gaddafi affects all the countries in the Sahel region, from Mauritania to Central African Republic. Gaddafi, he said, recruited gunmen who learned to do nothing else than to kill. And when the former leader was killed, the gunmen escaped with their arms and are wreaking havoc all across the region. President Buhari expressed Nigeria's gratitude to Chad for the diverse kinds of support given to combat the Boko Haram insurgency, saying the federal government will always stand by the neighboring country in its local and international aspirations. The Special Envoy and Chadian Minister of Foreign Affairs, African Integration and Chadians Abroad, Amin Abbas Siddiq, conveyed a message from President Idris Deby, whom he said sent fraternal greetings to President Muhammadu Buhari and Nigerians in general. Details contained in the message were, however, not made public. From the State House, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
Now, looking at the economy, the Ministry of Petroleum Resources, DPRO, and the NNPC have been directed to give the necessary support to Watersmith Refining and Petrochemical Company, including access to crude oil and condensate feedstock towards expanding the capacity of its modular refinery to 50,000 barrels per day. President Muhammadu Buhari gave the directive at a virtual inauguration of the company's 5,000 barrels per day modular refinery in Imo State. State House correspondent Adamu Sambu again has the details.
The Walter Smith Modular Refinery, first and the largest so far in Nigeria, has a crude oil storage capacity of 60,000 barrels and is projected to deliver over 271 million litres per annum of refined petroleum products, including kerosene, diesel, and heavy fuel oils to the domestic market. Presently refining 5,000 barrels per day, the company is looking at 50,000 barrels per day refining capacity that will come with a planned additional 2 modules, which will then add PMS, aviation fuel, and LPG to the product slates. President Muhammadu Buhari is delighted that after many years of giving licenses for the establishment of modular refineries by successive governments without success, one has formally come on stream within 2 years of the commencement of his administration's refinery roadmap.
The development of modular refineries represents one of the 4 key elements of our refinery roadmap rolled out in 2018 aimed at addressing the challenges in the downstream sector to meet our local needs and eliminate importation of petroleum products. The realization of the refinery roadmap will ultimately lead us to becoming a net exporter of petroleum products, not only to our neighboring countries, but to worldwide market.
The president noted with satisfaction the increased momentum in the other three focus areas of the roadmap, covering the rehabilitation of existing refineries, collocation of new refineries, and construction of greenfield refineries.
In line with our agenda on job creation, I am pleased to note that hundreds of direct and indirect jobs were created during the construction of the first phase of the project, in addition to the various business opportunities. There is no doubt that the construction of the second phase of the project will create bigger additional employment opportunities. Let me use this opportunity to congratulate the local community and the people of Imo State for hosting this refinery, which I trust will bring prosperity and economic development.
Governor Hope Uzodinma of Imo State said Imolites cannot thank President Buhari enough for his deliberate efforts at encouraging a truly private sector-driven economy.
Imo State is today the first proud beneficiary of these visionary policies. President Buhari is the undisputed champion of walking the talk, of ensuring private sector participation in an economy that has always been public sector driven. This can only come from a visionary leadership that is focused and determined to make life for the citizens more meaningful.
This is only the beginning. After now, there are a lot of other refineries in line to be commissioned, and we are hoping that very soon the in-country capacity to refine will be up to as much as 250,000 barrels per day. Today marks an important occasion and indeed a milestone in our quest to ensure robust energy independence through gradual reduction in the importation of petroleum products into our country.
Walter Smith obtained license for the Modular refinery in June 2015, got the authority to construct in March 2017, commenced construction in October 2018, and delivered in less than 24 months ahead of schedule, thereby beginning to change the narrative in the nation's struggle towards securing petroleum products for domestic consumption. From the State House, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
Similarly, the chairman, Walter Smith's group, Abdulrazak Issa, says the policy framework of President Muhammadu Buhari to encourage development of in-country modular refineries has started yielding dividends. He made the remark at the inauguration of 50,000 barrels per day Walter Smith modular refinery project in Imo State. Chuma Wankwe has details.
The groundbreaking of Walter Smith 5,000 barrels per day modular refineries in Ibigwe on Hajebuma was performed in October 2018 to provide petroleum products for the domestic market. The chairman of Walter Smith Group, Abdulrazak Issa, commended President Muhammadu Buhari for his commitment towards encouraging the operations of in-country modular refineries.
That if our NNPC or government can buy crude oil, can buy refined products from the international market, why can't they buy from us and pay us at the same currency they're paying everybody else? You know, and we're going to be here, we're going to be cheaper than wherever they're going to buy from.
In his virtual presentation, President Muhammadu Buhari commended Walter Smith Refinery for coming on stream within 2 years of the commencement of the roadmap rolled out in 2018.
The realization of the refinery roadmap will ultimately lead us to becoming a net exporter of petroleum products, not only to our neighboring countries, but to worldwide market.
The Imo State Governor, Hope Uzodimma, outlined the benefits of the project, stressing that it will boost the economy of the state and the country at large.
I want to urge other operators or license holders to go and make real the licenses issued to them by government.
The Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Timipri Silva, and the Executive Secretary, Nigerian Content Development and Monitoring Board, notes that with the inauguration of the Walter Smith Modular refinery, Nigeria's dream of becoming a net exporter of petroleum products is on the way.
Walter Smith are paving the way. We are expecting a lot of development in this sector.
And the strategy of NCDMB is not to stay in such investment for a very long time. We just want to catalyze it.
The inauguration and groundbreaking also featured the signing of an MOU for establishment of an industrial and innovation park between Walter Smith and other United Nations collaborating bodies. The occasion attracted dignitaries from far and near and captains of industry. Chuma Wankwere, NTA News.
In other news, Vice President Yemi Osinbajo says government wants to see greater commitment and a plan that is as aggressive as the country's aspirations. The Vice President, during a webinar with some French business leaders under the auspices of the Franco-Nigeria Chamber of Commerce and Industry, notes that the private sector commitment need to align with the federal government's backward integration policy, noting that over the years, many companies have committed to backward integration but have simply not been as diligent and faithful with those promises.
As countries around the world struggle to rebuild our economies, it's very evident that we cannot do this without collaboration. And meaningful collaboration is really quite critical here. Collaboration between countries and between sectors has become more important than ever. You know, for us, a key priority remains the provision of jobs for a large number of very young people. 70% of Nigeria's population. In effect, providing jobs for the Nigerian population. And we have been determined to, work on ways to continue to create real opportunities for young Nigerians, bridging existing skill gaps, equipping them with resources that they need to contribute positively to our national development. So we're really eager to work with, member organizations of this Chamber of Commerce, as we implement future programs, future job programs, future economic programs.
Vice President Osinbajo noted that part of what the Buhari administration had done in its response to the COVID-19 pandemic, which has caused economic downturn across the globe, was to build a business environment that will be supportive of domestic and foreign investors, stressing that the pandemic also provides incredible opportunities for doing all manner of very innovative and creative things. Meanwhile, the third quarter meeting of the Central Bank of Nigeria Monetary Policy Committee meeting has ended with a call for targeted investment by the fiscal authorities to resuscitate critical infrastructure and improve ease of doing business across the country.
Available data and forecasts for key macroeconomic variables also suggests optimism in output growth during the fourth quarter of 2020 due to the positive outlook for most economic activities. Accordingly, the economy is expected to recover from the recession by the end of 2020, while the inflation is projected to moderate by the first quarter of 2021.
Now, on the road to recovery from Nigeria's second recession in 5 years, drivers of the economy are optimistic that with a 50% growth in the third quarter of 2020, recovery in the first quarter of 2021 is possible with the right fiscal and monetary policies. Benny Adams takes us through how the country got here.
Oil represents more than 80% of Nigeria's exports, 30% of its banking sector credit, and 50% of the overall government revenue. With the drop in global oil prices, government revenues dropped from an already low 8% of GDP in 2019 to a projected 5% in 2020. While the pandemic led to a fall in investment due to greater uncertainty, a reduction in remittances to Nigerian households was witnessed, thereby deepening poverty. And just when the economy was opening wider, livelihoods were being restored. Then came the NSAS protest fallout, inflicting varying injury to the economy, from effects of curfew to destruction of property, leading to ongoing loss of jobs. These signs were indicative of a looming recession, laced with a growth as being reflected in the dip of minus 6.1% in the second quarter of 2020, which showed that the economy needed almost 150% growth rate to attain the 3% projected growth for 2021. The minus 3.62%, which shows negative decline for 2 quarters, is also reflective of a 50% growth rate from minus 6.1% recorded in second quarter. Recovery is being expected in the first quarter of 2021. For that to happen, experts are of the view that the economic sustainability plan must be given the support required alongside positive actions from fiscal and monetary policies. Benny Adams, NTA News.
With me in the studio now is the development economist Nia Kinshiju to shed more light on Nigeria's recovery plan. Many thanks for joining us.
A pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.
All right. Now, getting out of a recession like this requires bigger public spending. But for an economy that with 5 trillion naira deficit already, coupled with a revenue challenge, increasing public spending means wider deficit. What's the way out?
Well, I think the foundation to drive the economy had been laid already by 3 principles, what I call the trilogy of policies deployed by this government. And what are these policies? One, you have the ERGP, Economic Recovery and Growth Plan. You also have the Economic Stimulus Plan. And most importantly, you have the Finance Act 2019. These policies were actually focused on expansionary spending, and of course driving production and productivity. And I'm using those terms deliberately, production and productivity. Productivity would be to enable the process of production, and perhaps one other aspect of these policies that had not been so celebrated is the exemption of a large number of MSMEs, from paying taxes.
Okay.
Companies with less than 25 million turnover per annum are exempted from paying taxes, company income taxes.
All right. Also added to that, we expect that the CBN should be looking at injecting more money into the economy at this point in time. But looking at the result of today's Monetary Policy Committee meeting, it looks like the CBN is not looking in that direction. What's your take?
No, that's what the CBN has done. You have a dilemma from which the CBN had to take an option. The dilemma of increasing inflation rates, and of course the dilemma of a recession, as it were. So what is the option? If the CBN wanted to control inflation rates, it would have to increase the benchmark rate, the MPR, as it were. The MPR till this MPC meeting was at 11.5%. And don't forget, it was reduced in May from 13.5% to 12.5%, and then reduced again in September from 12.5% to 11.5%.
Yeah.
When the MPR is reduced, the indication is that CBN wants banks to lend money at cheaper rate to business people, to manufacturing, and of course anybody involved in the production process. And that's why I talked about productivity. So what the CBN had done is, we have reached this level. We don't want to constrain production. We want business people, manufacturers, and their affiliates to be able to access funds at a cheaper rate. And when you are able to access funds at a cheaper rate, it means more businesses will be able to apply for loans in money deposit banks, and then of course you have more money in the economy.
That may help. Now, looking at the federal government's plan in getting us out of this recession amidst COVID-19, what's your opinion about that?
Huge. And I must tell you, that's what have saved us. In the first 2 months of the pandemic, between March, April, and May, You had the targeted credit facility, rolled out by the CBN, that allowed access to close to 100 billion naira, and of course you also have support to the manufacturing sector to as much as 1 trillion naira, So all these.
So you think it will work out at the end of the day?
It's working out, because if you look at our outturn, our GDP outturn at 6.1% in the second quarter, and compared to 3.62 in third quarter, what it tells you is that we are growing faster. The report said we grew by 50%.
Right.
So we have just formally entered the recession, but in truth, we are exiting the recession already, by that growth trajectory, as it were.
All right, thank you so much, Aniya Kinshiju, for your insights tonight.
My pleasure. Thanks so much.
All right, you're watching the network news at 9 on NTA. Up ahead, Petroleum Industry Bill skids second reading in the House of Representatives. This and more in the second part of tonight's news this day.
I want to go there, no. Don't touch me. I will get you arrested.
Carefully. Very, very witty.
The National Institute for Legislative and Democratic Studies, National Assembly, in collaboration with UN Women, is organizing a 2-day capacity building workshop for women legislators in Nigeria on gender legislation and other legal instruments. The workshop is targeted at building the capacity of women parliamentarians on legislation, oversight, and issue-based gender discourse, among others. Welcome remarks to be delivered by Director General, National Institute for Legislative and Democratic Studies, Professor Abubakar O. Sulaiman. Goodwill message to be presented by the Nigeria Country Representatives, UN Women, Miss Comfort Lamte. Opening remarks to be given by Speaker, House of Representatives, Right Honorable Femi Gbajabiamila. Keynote address and official opening of the workshop to be done by President of the Senate, Distinguished Senator Ahmed Lawan, PhD, CON. Date, Wednesday 25th and Thursday 26th November 2020. Venue, Sheraton Hotel, Abuja, Nigeria. Time, 9 a.m. daily. Professor Abubakar O. Sulaiman, Director General, National Institute for Legislative and Democratic Studies, announcer.
Disinfect and protect your home with Jik. Jik kills 99.9% of illness-causing germs. Disinfect floors, kitchen and bathroom surfaces, and wash white cloths, towels, and dishcloths with Jik bleach. Just Jik it. Disinfect and protect your home with Jik. Jik kills 99.9% of illness-causing germs. Disinfect floors, kitchen and bathroom surfaces, and wash white cloths, towels, and dishcloths with Jik bleach. Just Jik it.
The National Health Insurance Scheme, NHIS, announces the official launch of its newest program, Group Individual and Family Social Health Insurance Program. The program is an expansion and improvement of the former VC-SHIP program of the NHIS and offers a platform of enrollment to all Nigerians not currently covered under a health insurance program. Will be formally launched by the Honorable Minister of Health, Dr. Osage Ehanire, on Thursday, November 26, 2020. Venue, Borno Anambra Imo Hall, 2nd floor, Transcorp Hilton Hotel, Abuja. Time 10 a.m. With giftship, Nigerians in diaspora, philanthropists, high network individuals, and foundations can enroll relations and loved ones and other groups of Nigerians for health insurance with a guarantee for efficient service and high quality of care. Giftship, leaving no one behind. Giftship, a bold step towards universal health coverage in Nigeria. New NHIS. Result-oriented. Professor Mohammed Nasir Sambo, Executive Secretary, CEO, NHIS, announcer.
Mommy is back!
Guess what's inside?
Chocolate. Biscuit.
Our new toothpaste, Colgate Maximum Cavity Protection.
Why are we changing our toothpaste?
Because with Colgate Maximum Cavity Protection, I can be sure your teeth are cavity-free.
Cavity? What cavity?
Let me show you.
Most toothaches are caused by tooth holes called cavities. When you brush daily with Colgate Maximum Cavity Protection, Its expert formula locks natural calcium in our teeth and helps protect them from cavity.
It also has natural mint for minty fresh breath every day.
Mom, can I eat chocolates now?
As long as you brush with Colgate Maximum Cavity Protection.
Colgate is the world's most chosen toothpaste.
Colgate locks calcium in.
Keeps cavities out!
Recommended by the Nigerian Dental Association.
There are no small beginnings, only stepping stones to bigger things. That's our philosophy at Premium Pension. And so no matter the size of your money, our team of expert fund managers invested wisely and actively to make sure your money is always working as hard as you do. After all, the things we're building today can help shape your future in the long run. And with the right partner by your side, the one thing you're sure to do is soar. Premium Pension. Active today, premium tomorrow.
Thank you for staying. The Senate has received an executive communication requesting the confirmation of Professor Mahmood Yakubu as chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission for a second term. National Assembly correspondent Ignatius Nkwo reports that the request is in line with the provision of Section 154, subsection 1 of the 1999 Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria as amended.
It is the first Senate plenary in the last 1 month. Legislative business had shifted to the committee rooms for budget defense. The day's plenary took off with President of the Senate Ahmed Lawan reading letters from President Muhammadu Buhari for confirmation of appointments.
I am pleased to present for confirmation by the Senate the nomination of Professor Mahmood Yakubu for appointment as Chairman, Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) for a second and final term.
Senate also received requests for the confirmation of the appointment of 7 nominees as chairman and members of the National Commission for Persons with Disabilities, with Hussaini Kangiwa as chairman. 8 nominees for Governing Council of the Hydropower Producing Areas, with Joseph Tofa as chairman. The legislators raised concern on what they described as a precarious state of Nigeria's aviation sector. A motion by Senator Adamu Alero urged the federal government to ease the financial burden on airline operators by implementing its orders on zero customs and import duties and the removal of VAT for airline operators.
The placement of NCAA 5% ticket sales charge with a fixed charge similar to fund passenger service charge.
Nigeria, we are not saying it's a must to give them palliative, but let us allow the aviation industry in the next 3 years to be tax-free so that they could manage this aircraft very well.
Request the Central Bank of Nigeria to make foreign exchange readily and easily accessible for the sector and make the interest rate a single digit for airlines, which will reduce the cost of capital.
2 senators, Biodun Olujimi and Gashon Basi, moved motions urging the federal government to set up a panel to visit all states where properties were destroyed during the EndSARS protest and to give the states 1% of VAT benefit to assist them rebuild the structures.
Urge the federal government to establish a special economic assistance to Lagos State.
As the EndSARS victims are being compensated, so also the victims of banditry should also be compensated.
The Senate has approved the refund of 148.1 billion naira to 5 states of Bayelsa, Cross River, Ondo, Osun and River State for projects executed on behalf of the federal government. From the National Assembly, Ignatius Nkwo, NTA News.
The need for the NNPC to reactivate failed and vandalized pipelines in the country to reduce the burden of transporting petroleum products by road, as well as the essentials of setting a timeline for the enforcement of the maximum load capacity of 45,000 litres of petroleum products by trucks operating from the tank farms across the country were part of the recommendations to a strategic stakeholders meeting held to forestall frequent cases of road traffic crashes involving petroleum tankers and trucks, which continues to claim lives and property in the country. A statement by the Federal Road Safety Corps says the meeting, which was a directive of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, also recommends that the SGF consider securing a presidential directive for urgent intervention in the provision of soft loans for truck renewal using similar template as applicable to pharmaceutical companies and other sectors of the economy at the peak of COVID-19. The meeting resolved that enforcement of all safety standards, including anti-skid, anti-rollover, and anti-spill safety valves, be prioritized. The Federal Road Safety Corps, in collaboration with major oil marketers of Nigeria and the National Association of Road Transport Owners, is also to organize enlightenment campaign for articulated vehicle drivers. Now, the House of Representatives has passed for second reading the Petroleum Industry Bill. National Assembly correspondent Lamiale reports that the House also passed at second reading the Electoral Act Repeal and Reenactment Bill on the first day of plenary upon reconvening after weeks of break for budget defense.
Welcoming members back to plenary, House Speaker Femi Gbajabiamila noted key legislations before the House, such as the 2021 budget, the PIB, the Electoral Act Amendment Bill, the Police Service Commission Bill, and the process of constitutional review.
I encourage all the chairmen and deputy chairmen of the House committees to seek out innovative avenues for public engagement, stakeholder collaboration, and cross-pollination of policy ideas.
The PIB, a bill that began its journey in the Fifth Assembly, seeks wholesale developments of the oil and gas subsector.
Legal framework, Mr. Speaker, so that we can take advantage of exploring and exploiting all available resources in the oil and gas subsector.
The essence of this PIB is to institutionalize good governance and ease of doing business in Nigeria. What the PIB seeks to achieve is to unbundle the NNPC.
Another piece of legislation that got the nod of House members is the Electoral Act Amendment Bill, which seeks to regulate the conduct of federal, state and FCT area council elections.
The need to consolidate on the gains of our democratic achievements and to also address the lacuna identified in the electoral legal framework.
48 hours is just too short for anybody, for any political party to substitute a candidate that is dead. In America, that we're taking example, you know the system, you know how they sponsor their own candidates.
It also passed second reading and was referred to relevant committee. Coming under matter of privilege during Tuesday's plenary, Representative Haruna Mashelia said Governor Zulum of Borno deserves commendation for exemplary leadership in the face of security challenge.
I want to put it on record, even though our privileges are hampered in the state, it has not deterred him. And he's working very hard.
The need to beef up security in Chibok and Damboa to curb insurgency attacks raised by Representative Ahmed Jaha was adopted. The House prayed for the repose of the soul of Ifeanyi Okereke, the vendor who died last Thursday from the shot fired by a security personnel attached to the Speaker. From the National Assembly, Lami Ali, NTA News.
And away from the National Assembly now, Borno State Government has appealed to the United Kingdom to key into its 25-year development plan in the quest to stabilize the northeast region. Governor Babagana Umar Zulum made the appeal when he received a high-level UK delegation led by the Special Envoy on Humanitarian Affairs, Nicholas Dye, on a courtesy call at the Government House, Maiduguri. Mohammed Goni reports.
United Kingdom government has been rendering huge humanitarian support to the northeast region of Nigeria, as attested to by the Borno State Governor, Professor Babagana Umara, who also doubles as the chairman of the Northeast Governors Forum. With growing agitation on the part of the displaced communities, efforts are being made to resettle the IDPs in their ancestral home or at other locations declared safe, in line with the development and strategic plan of the state government.
While acknowledging the enormous support of the donor partners, the UK aid, and others, EU and others, in providing the needed humanitarian support, we are looking for sustainable longer-term, medium-term, and longer-term sustainable solution.
Governor Bagana Umara emphasized creation of opportunities for development and jobs for the millions of youths as key to restoration of peace to the state and the country as a whole, as well as to stop fresh recruitment by the Boko Haram insurgents, calling on the UK government to key into the stabilization and recovery efforts. Special Envoy on Humanitarian Affairs to the UK Foreign Minister, Nicholas Dare, said the northeast region of Nigeria is one of the areas UK government has been supporting for some time now.
I've come today to visit a few of the IDP camps and to have a conversation with the His Excellency the State Governor to see what the facts are on the ground and see how the UK government can support the State Government's vision.
Head of the delegation also held the 25-year development plan of the state government as a document that can assist in addressing the challenges of development. In Maiduguri, Mahmoud Goni, NTA News.
Let's now pause here and have a feel of Lagos, where Dotun is standing by to give us more news. Dotun, it's over to you.
Thank you, Ian Ray. The first payment system bank, Hope Payment Services Bank, to be licensed by the Central Bank of Nigeria, has launched its operations in Lagos. Chairman, Board of Directors Shehu Abubakar said the digital payment system is designed to drive the financial inclusion agenda of the Apex Bank. Abolade Salami reports.
As a way of redefining the concept of financial service operations from its conventional method to a more digitized and convenient means, Hope PS Bank, a payment service provider, has introduced a seamless, more efficient and reliable payment system for all in order to give opportunity to some unbanked Nigerians have access to digital financial service on the go. The secured financial system of digital banking becomes easily accessible with a dial of *569*9# on the mobile phone, which serves as the account number where a Hope wallet and other accounts can easily be opened at the convenience of users.
Like delivering service, to your doorsteps. And as a matter of fact, while the speech is being delivered, some people, the doubting Thomases, I would say, tried, on their phone, and they open a wallet account almost immediately. So that's how easy it is.
Hope PS Bank, a payment service provider, determined to also capture the underbanked Nigerians through its Hope wallet, is also making payments on the web, POS, collection of cash from ATM or agent outlets available on its multi-purpose wallet without card.
Not only is your account PIN protected, logging in onto our platform, you will need to have a password, especially if you are logging in onto our mobile app and our internet banking. You will need to have a password which you would have created. You'll also have an authentication PIN with which you authorize every transaction that you are doing.
Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu, represented by the Commissioner for Finance, Rabi Olowo, and the Minister of Communications and Digital Economy, Issa Pantami, represented by the Director General NITDA, Abdullahi Kashifu, both add credence to the need for Nigerians to adopt the change digitization is bringing to the financial sector. Hope Payment Service Bank is a subsidiary of Unified Payment Service Limited, Nigeria's foremost payment system with presence in the 6 geopolitical zones of the country. In Lagos, Abolade Salami, NTA News.
9 PSB Payment Service Bank, a digital payment system, targets over 6 million customers in the first 1 year of its operations. Managing Director, 9 PSB Bank, Branka Marakajak, at the official launch of the Payment Service Bank in Lagos, said the scheme is set to revolutionize the financial space. Again, Abolade Salami reports.
9 Payment Service Bank, a fully digitized payment service, is set to provide banking on the go to serve as catalyst for financial inclusion. As the world adapts to the new normal, the financial service sector is also taking advantage of the use of technology to address some of its challenges.
Wow, we are number 1, and I can tell you in the next 5 years, this bank is going to be the number 1 bank in West Africa.
9 Payment Service Bank is creating an opportunity for prospective customers to open an account with zero balance, cash back on airtime, and do data purchase via the 9 PSB mobile app star 990 hash, while customers can also do a 50,000 naira transaction limit and 300,000 naira cumulative balance daily on a wallet account.
Working on education of low income and unbanked population in the rural area of Nigeria, we will deploy many materials through videos to education on the spot with agents. We will also secure the controls and procedures and policies to keep everything in order and to actually succeed in building trust when it comes to unbanked population using banking services.
While the payment system is aimed at easing the stress of opening a bank account and the seamless flow of other financial transactions with the aid of mobile devices, the initiative is also targeted at boosting financial literacy among youths and women in the country.
Another opportunity to serve over 59 million unbanked adults through the deployment of innovative financial services that will leverage our top quality mobile technology.
The launch of 9 PSB Payment Service Bank into the Nigerian financial world, management of the bank says will enhance financial landscape that will change the system of banking in the country. In Lagos, Abolade Salami, NTA News.
Creating an environment where young Nigerian entrepreneurs can get critical elements of support in the early stages of their businesses was the agenda of the Kickstart Entrepreneurship Summit held in Lagos. The event, organized by the International Breweries PLC, provided grants to emerging business owners.
Unemployment is a global challenge that is growing uncontrollably. Development experts and governments all agree that urgent steps must be taken to stem its rising tide. In its response, the International Breweries PLC, the world's largest brewer with more than 400 brands, launched the Kickstart initiative in 2016 as a corporate social investment initiative to help support young entrepreneurs.
Further, demonstrate our organization's commitment to the development of the Nigerian youth.
What we have been preaching with Kickstart is joining hands with others to be able to go far. You will notice we have organizations like Back of Industry, NSCTF, EDC, Pan Atlantic University, and so on. And all of these people are our partners that helps us to go far.
Start Foundation has registered its presence in the 6 geopolitical zones of the country. 22 states, including the FCT, have so far been covered, with 571 estimated jobs created by 708 beneficiaries of the project.
We have grants that are given to the young entrepreneurs. We train them, we attach them to mentors. So for us, the return on investment from the support that we're giving to the youths is that they are able to run good businesses.
I'm into fish production and processing. I've been able to start up a fish production plant and it has really helped.
It has an impact on the business because those little extras automatically goes back into the pockets.
International Breweries PLC says it will stay committed to its empowerment initiative. In Lagos, Awol Yusuf Jibo, NTA News.
And that's it from here. Let's now take another break. Network News continues shortly.
Oh, my flavor chocolate. A yakma for you now.
I'm coming.
Come, let me spoil you. Look, this is not boil or access. Now money. Wanna show for Phoenix Lounge right now, babes, yakpa for you.
Find your first. Get a Glow special data plan. Dial *777# Glow.
Everybody listen up. Let me tell you something. Better service don't lie. Don't just sit down and look. Star 990 hash. Now it be the code to
Join PSB. Open an account right away with your phone number and instantly start to send and receive money by dialing *990#. You can even pay your bills and also enjoy more opportunities to get your cash back through any of our nationwide agents near you.
It's your boy Davido. See you at the All King Fest tonight.
Sometimes we need to power through the day because the world is your stage. And for you, impossibilities do not exist. Experience limitless possibilities with the all-new Infinix Note 8.
Infinix, the future is now.
This is my time.
You are not going to spoil it.
This time is precious. Don't let mosquitoes spoil the fun. Relax and enjoy the moments that matter. Use Baygon fast-acting insect-killing protection for your home. Baygon, take back your home. S.C. Johnson, a family company.
Glad to have you back. The governors and people of the South-South region have demanded for the restructuring of the country in line with the principle of fiscal federalism to guarantee peace, security, stability and progress. This was the unanimous submission of the zone in the meeting with the federal government's delegation led by the Chief of Staff to the President, Ambassador Ibrahim Gambari at Government House, Port Harcourt. Ogedi Onyekwere completes the report.
It is convened at the instance of the federal government to consult with regional leaders and its people on issues of concern and the aftermath of the NSAS protest. Chairman of the South-South Governors Forum and Governor of Delta State, Senator Ifeanyi Okowa, who presented the submissions of the zone, said the NSAS protest is a metaphor of almost all that affects the country.
In this regard, I need to state very unequivocally and on behalf of the people of this region that we believe, support, and are committed to the restructuring of Nigeria in a way and manner that guarantees 1. True federalism and devolution of power to the states, including states creating and managing their own police and security architecture under a federal structure.
Ministers and National Assembly representatives from the zone aligned with the position of the region.
And as your representatives in the National Assembly, our job is to see to it as much as possible that all of the requests you've canvassed come to fruition.
Leader of the federal government delegation, Ambassador Ibrahim Gambari, said the country is better off together and strengthening its components.
It's very important to look at this very critically and build institutions that unite us instead of institutions that may very well divide us. It's very important also to remember that one of the failures of the First Republic is that we had very strong regions, 3 of them, later on 4, and very weak center. And the end result of that was disaster.
Other members of the delegation responded to questions as it relates to their office. The forum felicitated with the leader of the federal government delegation on his birthday. In Port Harcourt, Ogedi Onyekwere, NTA News.
16 days of activism against gender-based violence to mark the International Day for the Elimination of Violence Against Women will begin on November 25 and end on December 10, 2020. To commemorate the occasion, President Muhammadu Buhari in a statement highlights the various interventions by governments at all levels to curb sexual and gender-based violence, which increased during the lockdown period to check the COVID-19 pandemic. The responses, the statement says, include the establishment of a national tool for gender-based violence data management, inauguration of a committee on eradication of sexual gender-based violence, development of gender-based policy guidelines for emergency response, improving the economic status of women to mitigate the socio-economic effects of the coronavirus pandemic, and the promotion of fundamental human rights and freedom. The statement adds that the Buhari administration is mindful of the necessity to empower women and girls for the realization of the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, the African Union Agenda 2063, as well as the Beijing Declaration and Platform of Action. Meanwhile, the 16 days of activism to end violence against women and girls has been flagged off by the Federal Ministry of Women Affairs in collaboration with United Nations and development partners on gender. Momso Damien Dati reports that it is an annual global event.
Anytime you see the color orange backed by the slogan "Orange the World," just know that it's time to raise the banner against violence on women and girls.
Violence against women and girls are not just a human rights issue, but also a moral imperative, and failure to invest in tackling this leads to substantial social and economic losses.
Hence, in commemorating this year's 16 days of activism against the menace, stakeholders are recommending for urgent and flexible fundings for women's rights organizations, essential services for victims, priority on pleas and justice responses, among others.
Let me say that gender equality and women empowerment remains critical to ensuring inclusiveness and sustainable development, and in achieving our goals as a nation under the UN Agenda 2030.
For 16 days, we are all activists, where we stand together with survivors of gender-based violence. 243 million women and girls were abused by an intimate partner in the past year.
And this is why, because we need funding here in Nigeria, because we have seen that in spite of the fact that we have policies in place, we have a VAC Act in place, we have limited implementation because there's no funding that has been allocated.
Orange the Wolf, fund, respond, prevent, collect is the theme for this year. Momso Damien Lati, NTA News.
President Muhammadu Buhari rejoices with Prince Arthur Eze on the occasion of his 72nd birthday. The president joins family, friends and well-wishers in celebrating a man who has devoted his resources to help those in need by reaching out generously to underprivileged people and families, communities, academic, religious and health institutions. As an accomplished businessman, President Buhari is delighted that Prince Eze has used his massive investment in the oil and gas sector across Africa to contribute to the development of the nation's economy, provide gainful employment to many Nigerians and extend similar opportunities and goodwill to other nationals as well. As the Ozuogbundu counts his numerous blessings, the president prays God Almighty to grant him good health, happiness and peace with more fruitful years to continue his good works for the country and humanity. And on security, the Directorate of Defense Media Operations says the Air Task Force of Operation Lafia Doli has knocked out an Islamic State of West Africa province logistics base and neutralized several of their fighters in airstrikes conducted at Tubum Rego on the fringes of Lake Chad and Borno State. DMO Coordinator Major General John N.H. says the mission was executed on 22nd November 2020 following credible intelligence reports indicating that the location with structures camouflaged under dense vegetation was being used by the terrorists as a hub for logistics items conveyed via the lake and its tributaries for onward transportation using trucks and motorcycles. Let's now have a bit of sports as bikers embark on COVID-19 Road Tour. Tamara Abiwe will bring us more.
Senate President